Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here, and Wizards had said in the past that they are resuming spoilers on January 2nd, and sure enough, here they are. So first of all, we've got, I'm so excited, the lockets. Oh boy. Yeah, they can come in for 3, and you can tap for either color. Then if you pay 4 hybrid, you can draw 2 cards and sacrifice the locket. I'm a little bit surprised at the sheer lack of anybody playing the other 5 lockets in Standard right now. Very strange. It's mid-game ramp, late-game card draw. That's just odd. I guess it's just 1 turn too late, and they could not have made these cost 2. Well, if it drew 1 and cost 3 to sack it, they could. But next up, getting into the real spoilers, we've got, I'm so excited about this one, the guild gates. Oh boy, and we get not 1, but 2 gates for each guild. Wow, look at these. They come in tapped, and they can tap for 1 of 2 colors. Wow. But wait, there's more. You can also build a totally degenerate all gates deck. And what are we talking? Are we talking 3 color? Are we talking 4 color? Hell, if you're going to go 4, just go 5. It's a Skittles deck. We all know it is. If you're building a gates deck, you know what you're about. You know what level of degeneracy you're pushing here. Okay, I'm bored. Let's get to the real spoilers. We've got, I'm excited. Are you sensing a pattern yet? It's the Shocklands. Oh boy. That's right. If you want, you can pay 2 life and they come in untapped. Otherwise, they come in tapped and they tap for your favorite guild's colors. Okay. Let's get to the real spoilers here. I mean, these are new cards and it's like an art reveal, but you're here for the crazy stuff they spoiled today. Well, our first actual spoiler is whatever the hell this says. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. This is a great video. Just kidding. I'll translate it. Okay, by I'll translate it, I mean somebody online will translate it. Also, it allegedly translates to speaker's pet. I don't actually think that's correct. So it's a Simic 2-cost creature mutant. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less to activate. Okay. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana and ability cost to activate to less than 1 mana. I feel like with the second part of that statement, they didn't need to put up to in the first one, but I don't know. It's probably some rule. Whatever. So this is going to be degenerate as all hell. Oh, use an ability to put counters on something, which is what Simic will do. Cool, now it costs like 2, instead of 4. Great. Well, there are some cards in some other sets that would be very broken by this. Also, you can tap it with the second ability, by the way, and the next time a creature you control activates Adapt this turn, which is their mechanic, it uses Adapt as if it has no +1/+1 counters. That's an interesting way to get around it, I guess. The problem is it's the kind of card where if you're doing counter dump and you're just like, but it doesn't work with Adapt. I have to maybe move the counters or something. I'll just play this. Well, you can only have 4 in your entire deck, so it's not going to work that well. But if it's more like, okay, it's an adapt deck, it does what it does, but on top of it, I might get this out and make the deck a little bit better, then it'll be really, really good. Either way, I could totally see this hitting like $10. It's very possible. I mean, the potential for this thing to be absolutely insane is absolutely insane. Also, because they're complete idiots, they didn't make it legendary. This is, the 8th or 9th card that they forgot to make legendary, clearly? If I sound terribly disinterested in this card and Simic, it's because I don't like them. What do you call a creature with a bunch of counters on it? A target. You invest all this time and effort and mana and everything, and then they just blow it up. Unless you can protect it, which, okay, blue, but then that's a boring slow deck. So, Simic doesn't look fun to me, but who knows? Next up, a card that does look fun, because it's actually not Simic, it's Azorius, so I would assume it's Sphinx of Foresight. So it's a 4/4 flyer for 4, which is pretty good for a Sphinx, honestly, in blue. And you may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do, scry 3 at the beginning of your first upkeep. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. We haven't had one of those in forever. I think, the Starfish, probably, from Origins? And before that, it was like Thassa. And hell, you had to tap the stupid Starfish, so, yeah, this is great. This is absolutely wonderful. I think it might help out Dimir a little bit too much and give them way too good of an air force. I mean, you got that rogue sprite fairy, I don't know what the hell it is, and then you got Doom Whisperer, so oh boy. Oh, and then you got Watcher. You can just do blue-black control flyers and just fly over the person and just kill them. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but this is a killer blue card. Just in a vacuum, I like this, and it's basically a late line. Well, okay, it's more like serum powder. Okay, actually, it doesn't really work exactly like either of those. It's just really good. Next up, the 6 Fingered Vidal Smurf Police know that you've got priors, and they're going to send out the Deputy of Detention. So it's a 1/3 for 3, so it must do something absolutely crazy. Also, it's a Vidalcan wizard. Also, it's an Azorius card, so yeah. Also, it's a rare. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls and all other non-land permanents that player controls with the same name. Oh, that's fun. So you are not playing tokens anymore. Your token deck just died. Kiss Selesnya goodbye and don't even think about playing vampires. Well, then again, there is tokenless Selesnya and there's also tokenless vampires, but, in general. Well, I said it in a previous video. I really wanted just outright meddling mage name jamming, but I would settle for a Deck in Stone clone. Declaration in Stone, the old card from, what was that, BFZ or something? Hell, I like that card because I like Bile Blight. I just like nuking the same copy of something that you probably have too many of, and I need to make you have less of them. 0 would be preferable. I love this card. Unfortunately, it just takes the Teferi deck and makes it worse, so once again, love the card, don't like what it'll go in. But yeah, this is going straight, absolutely directly into my commander deck. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. And by the way, Fairgrounds Warden, I missed that card too. This is everything. This is Fairgrounds Deck in Stone. The problem is, literally anything blows them up, but if you're playing enough control spells, you might be able to give them hexproof or counter it. I don't know. Next up, we're going back to Simic for an epic mythic. Oh boy, this is another one of their disgraceful slaps in the face to nature. It's 1 blue, 1 green, and X, and of course it's a jellyfish Hydra beast, because of course it is. When you cast this spell, you gain half of X life and draw half of X cards, rounded down of course. It, oh my gosh, has flying and trample, okay, and it enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. So if you cast it for 8 total, X would be 6, you would gain 3 life, draw 3 cards, which is crazy, especially when you can put counters on him other ways, and then he would enter as a 6/6 flyer with trample. Now, 8 is kind of high, but you can ramp in green, so I could see this going in a completely not Simic deck that just generates a ton of mana. You could technically run him for X equals 1 if you really wanted. X equals 2 is where you're going to really start getting the benefit, and that's only 4. He just jumps out, gives you a life, replaces himself, and then he's an obnoxious flying 1/1. But if you can cast him out for like 12, oh boy, watch out. That's where it gets real dangerous in game ending. So I like early game stuff that scales later game, although this is more mid to late. I wouldn't really call it early game. The fact that it's so easy to manipulate counters with Simic, I would assume, you might be able to put a lot more counters on them, which is going to be a huge problem. I think this is going to be pretty damn OP. And what is it with flyers? I'm sure Azorius has a couple angels too. I think the entire battle of Magic the Gathering is just moving to the air, which means anything on the ground, like enraged dinosaurs, totally gone. You're either going to need so many removal spells that you just don't leave anything in the air, or you're going to need to follow everybody else's decks up into the clouds, which is going to be kind of annoying. A grand total of 0 of my decks have heavy flyers, so I'm not looking forward to this. But then again, we've only seen, 3 actual cards in this video, so it might be a little bit too early. Maybe none of the rest fly, who knows. Next up, no surprise here, Delvin Bond, or I should say Delvin Grand Arbiter. Somehow everybody knew he was going to be in Ravnica. I guess they gave it away in one of the stories I didn't read. So he's the 3 loyalty for 3, which is usually kind of weak but annoying long term. And yeah, he has a -7 that'll take him forever to get to. I'm sure this will help the Teferi deck. Let's read it. So +1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Delvin Grand Arbiter. Well, that's annoying. He could just get up to 7 in 1 turn if you just swarm, I don't know, something. Thopters, who knows. And then -1, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature with token and flying, and then, or the creature token with flying, good lord. Then you gain a life because that ability's garbage otherwise. So that's cool. It does help his +1, so you could -1 and then have it get you to +1 faster. So that's kind of cool. And then -7, look at the top 10 cards of your library. Hello. Put 3 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So, it could whiff, but what the hell kind of deck are you running? My gosh. So this is slow. The ult doesn't really do anything. Whenever you pull, you still have to have the mana to cast. You could just go get another one, but what would be the point of that? It's cool, I guess. I don't know. It's not like you draw a card for every hit. I think he's just going to sit there and spit out Thopters, and you aren't really going to care when he dies. And then if you already have an army, you just +1 him once. He gets the 10 loyalty, and then you just -1 him over and over and over and over and over. And unlike, Thopter Assembler, Foundry, or whatever, I don't know, some card like that, you don't have to pay a bunch of mana to do it every turn. You just -1 him. Cool. So kind of weak, but like I said, that's 3 cost 3 loyalty planeswalkers. They're always kind of weak, but they do something neat over time and usually not game ending. Well, except if he had a -8 instead, that would be so many ticks away, it would have been game ending. We've had examples of that. So the problem with him is like an artifact deck is non-existent right now. I've seen people try to kind of play like a blue equipment artificer, like Ensel artifact, pseudo effect thing. It's not that great. I mean, maybe Azorius will help with that now that Dovin's, I don't know, a member, maybe. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know is that -7 will work perfectly to Teferi deck, except, whoops, that deck doesn't tend to run creatures. I've seen versions that do. They run tokens with Dawn of Hope, but usually it's just either mill or something even more toxic. I mean, they just need to ban Teferi. I don't know why Wizards won't listen to 99% of their player base. Well, next up we got Judith, the Scourge Diva. She might be the leader of Rakdos, although I don't know if that was her in that weird jester mask or who that, I'll say guy is, because it kind of looked like a dude. I don't know. But either way, this is legendary, so she's somewhat important in the Rakdos guild, I guess. Other creatures you control get +1/+0, which is good because she's a 2/2 for 3, which is kind of crap. And she's a human shaman. Good luck getting synergy going there. And then whenever a non-token creature you control dies, she deals 1 damage to any target. So she's pretty good. I mean, if you're playing throwaway creatures or token dump, you could probably get something going. I'm not sure that'll necessarily be Rakdos' thing, but we've seen so few cards, who knows? High attack creatures with haste are incredibly annoying. They basically just ripped off Silent Hill with everything to do with Rakdos, and the whole thing just reminds me of the whole evil clowns running around with chainsaws thing. Whom, by the way, I will still shoot on sight under 100% of circumstances. Seriously, the police arrested like a clown running around with some kind of weapon, I think, and it was like not that far away from where I live. Screw clowns, dude. That extends to gestures too. They're just medieval clowns. So hey, you can give Judith lifelink with that one white aura that turns her into a knight or something, I think. That'd be kind of neat because she's the one dealing the damage. And unlike most cards like this, it's any target. So, I mean, that's not bad. Next up is Kaia Orzov, Usurper. Oh no, another 3 for 3. So I guess she's either the new leader of Orzov, which, I mean, I thought it was a council, it's a democracy, or she, like, works for them. I don't know, who cares? All I know is if she's working for running Orzov, they basically just took a black person and made them a criminal, so thanks, Wizards. You sure she doesn't want to join Azorius? You 100% sure about that? Okay. So anyway, she has a +1, exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life if at least 1 creature card was exiled this way. You're probably going to want to target Jumpstart in most cases. I mean, at least if your opponent's running Is It. So that's a nice little Jumpstart shutdown. I like that because Jumpstart's honestly a little bit OP right now, or just in general, not even right now. But yeah, she could get rid of a creature that you're resurrecting. She could nuke a reassembling skeleton, Phoenix. That'd be kind of nice. I mean, in the vast majority of circumstances, that +1 is going to do literally nothing at all. I mean, their graveyard's probably going to be empty, or you'll just be tossing cards that you don't care about. And they don't care about either. So her -1 is exile target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less. Oh boy, at least it only costs 1 loyalty. I mean, the funny thing is she could do that 3 times in a row, like 3 turns in a row. That's kind of wild, otherwise it's complete crap. She must be like the worst assassin ever. I mean, I think I've seen like a deer or like an antelope that's a 2/2. And she can't take one of those down? She can't kill a damn antelope? I think I've seen frogs that are 2/2s. Anyway, that is going to piss me off in my cloner deck, but so far I don't think anybody's going to actually run her. But her -5, which is incredibly easy to get to, she deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life, which is literally the only reason to use her +1, but she comes out so early that you probably don't have anything in your graveyard. And this is just going to punish people who run like Evolving Wilds early game, and I don't know. Overall, I don't like this card. It's like simultaneously weak and unplayable while also being completely unfair in certain circumstances. Are you really going to stick a Planeswalker in your sideboard just in case? I have no idea. We don't know Orzov's cards that well so far, or any of the other 5 guilds. So will she find a place? I don't know. It would be weird if she didn't, but right now I can't see really synergy with anything other than what, discard and mill? Maybe? I mean, she's only good against specifically one of my top decks, so I'm going to take it extremely personally. Stop killing my clones, you bitch. I hope Orzov arrests her. Well, there's one more spoiler to go through, and it's Mass Manipulation. Now, that artwork looks really familiar, but I don't know from what. So anyway, it's just, your average everyday quad blue double X spell. Okay. It's just in Bolus's clutches, except you can cast it for 8 or 10. So gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. I mean, you can't grab, I guess, an artifact or enchantment, unlike in Bolus's clutches, which cost 6. But hey, if you're running it, go for it, because see, they could blow off that enchantment later. This is permanent. Oh yeah, FYI, if you didn't catch that, you don't give them back at end of turn. But yeah, for 6 mana, you better not. So, boy, this in Simic would be crazy. If you can ramp this up high enough, the game's just over. But the problem is, if you go up against Izzet and you're like, cool, I've bounced their Drakes back to hand a couple times, I pinned a couple down, okay, now I'm about to die, boom, mass manipulation, they're just going to counter this. I mean, if they know you have it, they're going to hold a counter spell the whole damn game. So, do I think they should have made it not counterable? No. The only thing is you could reduce the cost of this with that one Goblin. So, like, that's not bad, but I don't know. This is really on the high end, and I don't think it would go in Mono Blue. Mono Blue just doesn't have enough ramp, or, well, really any outside of just card draw. But we do have the Scry every single turn Sphinx. It's just, do you want to ramp up to one thing, get absolutely demolished in the meantime, maybe throw up some walls for dirt cheap, and then finally get this out and then cross your fingers and hope they don't counter it? I mean, I don't know. I honestly think Entrancing Melody is just still a better card, but this, if you have a lot of mana, is a way better card. Well, we've got, what, 3 or 4 active treason effects in red right now, so somebody could legitimately do a red-blue ramp deck that's just removal, stall, a little bit of scry draw, and jumpstart, and then this. Plus, that's on color with the cost reducers, so if somebody did that, hey, but, is this even necessarily game-winning in all circumstances? No, not really, but it's cool. I like stealing stuff, everybody knows that. I literally made a deck before rotation called Kid Ramper, so, I mean, this would go in it. I still miss the 3-cost version of this, or 4, or whatever the hell it was, from Amon Cat. That was pretty tasty. I believe it was called Kefnet's Grabby Hands. So honestly, the card's my kind of card, but it's one of those things where you're not like, oh, well, that's broken and unfair. Like, nobody's going to be able to cast it without special circumstances, so, if they get it off, good for them. You don't feel like it's just broken and the whole game's ruined by this card. You're like, yeah, they had like 10 mana. Yeah, they stole my whole army. They had 10 frickin' mana. Maybe I should have beaten them before they got to 10 mana, So that's it for today's spoilers. A lot to jump into, a lot to look at. Planeswalkers are always crazy. We got new characters, plot twists, new artwork, everything. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss the rest of the spoilers. I'm going to be covering them like crazy this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.